Welcome back to the Azura Media Club, home of the Bad Girl Coven. I'm your Coven leader, Emily, and today we're talking about Bridge to Terabithia, a movie I hadn't seen, I don't think, before. I've heard a lot of good things about this movie. I remember when it came out, when I was younger, not like really young. How old would I have been? Let's see. Definitely at least a teenager at that point. 10, 13. Actually, I really wish I would have seen this movie back then when I was 13. I think that really would have... I don't know if it would have resonated with me back then, but, it's the kind of movie that now looking back, um, I really appreciate. I think I thought it was childish back then or something, but that's really the point of the movie is it gives you that sense of hanging out with a friend, just running around a forest when you were a kid, imagining things and just like having a good old time. And I miss that, I miss that vibe. It understands exactly what I'm trying to go for with my creativity, with my creative process. Um, a lot of the beats of this movie are things that I personally have and will be using in the book that I'm writing. And it definitely captures a lot of that same spirit of adventure and childlike wonder that I'm really going for in my book as well. And, spoilers, of course, it gets really sad at the end there when she dies and all of that. Um, and Jess takes it really rough at first, but then he finds a way to cope with it and learns to become closer with his sister, and he shows her Terabithia and all of that. And uh, what hit me really hard was that when I realized the name of the movie, the so-called Bridge to Terabithia, was fucking like an actual bridge that he built because the fucking rope snapped or whatever. Which is just tragic because he like warned her about that at the beginning. He's like, I don't know about this. Like, this seems kind of dangerous. And but she died as she did. As she lived, being adventurous and all of that, and just believing in the stability of that rope and the you know just that nothing could go wrong. And it's sad. It's a sad ending, but the rest of the movie, I mean, it's not exactly smiles and rainbows the rest of the movie, but it's nice to see him like make this friend. At first they're kind of don't want to be friends, and then she wants to be his friend, but he doesn't want to be her friend. And then he finds out that they're neighbors, and then he warms up to the idea, and then they kind of share this kinship for imagination, and it's really cool. He Jess starts with his drawings, and Leslie kind of has grown up in a environment where her parents are writers, and so that's beautiful, and that'll spark her creativity and whatnot. And just what they share is so special. It's that exact kind of friendship you want as a kid, and um, I probably had it for a little bit there, but it's hard to say that I really remember having a friend exactly like that. And it hits harder for me, of course, having been um, growing up and socializing, as a boy, and then, not wanting anything to do with girls, because, that's what all the other boys would say is, don't hang out with the girls. That's weird. Why do you want to do that? God, I wish I would have just told them to screw off and been friends with some of those girls. Definitely would have taught me some good social skills around women, and I was too afraid of being seen as weird or whatever, which I was anyway, and I mean, shit, I had opportunities, but I just didn't take them. some, there's a good amount of regret in my past about things like that. Not that my childhood was entirely, bad. I mean, a lot of it was really good, but I felt this, I felt this movie on that front. I used to run around my forest that was around my dad's house there, and pretend and make up stuff just like in this, and go on adventures and whatnot. And part of that is why games like Zelda, like the first Zelda, hit so much, because that's what like Miyamoto did too. And I feel like in a way we're all trying to like capture that innocence and that imaginative state that you can only have, back then. And for me, I still try to flame some of that through the fires of that, through my writing, and keep that spirit of that alive. But it's difficult, especially as you grow up and you get more responsibilities. And I think you see that through especially like the dad character. He's like, get your head out of the clouds and all of that stuff. And Jess takes that to heart a couple of times, but Leslie always reminds him of what he really wants. And it's really sad, that she's gone. And he feels so bad because he went to the art museum with his teacher, which was kind of weird, but like also it was more just a push on her part to like get him to a museum where, since he's such a good artist and all of that, and he was always nice to her and stuff. Although it's still weird. It's still weird that they went together. Like, it's really odd. But anyway, it's so heartbreaking when he gets back too, and that's when they tell him like, hey, your friend's dead, basically, and he doesn't believe him, and he has to come to sorts with that in his own way, and it's really sad. I think we all want a friend like that, A friend is, imaginative and just free. Open your mind, Gosh, it's like, that's what she says, right? You have to keep your mind wide open. I love that. I love that line. I love that sentiment, That's amazing. Like, I'm gonna write that down. I need to write that down and then, like, you quote that in my book or whatever, because just the fact that they kind of understood a lot of what I'm going for too, and it really resonated with me that way. I love movies that like feel like that and give me like little pieces of what I want to do, with my story. And there's definitely some similar stuff going on here that I'll be using too. So maybe that's why it really connects with me as well, because like a lot of these ideas are ideas I wanted to share as well, and they beat me to the punch. But I mean, that's kind of the point of my book too, is to bring all these little pieces all together and make a bigger puzzle. And that's what I want to do, and stuff like this is really, really special and impactful towards the grander picture there. It's one of those special kind of movies, I'm really glad I watched it, and there's actually really I've seen 3 really fucking great movies over the course of this day, and it's been really nice. Cinema's amazing, I love it. The soundtrack too is so good, and just like the visual and stuff, they did a good job with all of it, obviously the characters and stuff, and yeah. I like how he finally kind of bonds with his dad by the end too. His dad's kind of a hard ass the whole thing, but you know how that is. That's how guys are, and that's how, I don't want to say that's how my dad was too, but it's like, they're closed off until they really need to be vulnerable, and in that moment, that's when you kind of see they do care. They really do love you and all of that. It's really nice to see that his dad steps in and is cool with him and stuff. And his dad's really hard on him the whole movie. You know, it's just like, it's nice. It's a nice movie. I really like it. I really enjoyed it. You know, it was really good. It has the vibe, like I said, of things that I enjoy, and holds on to that childlike sense of wonder and imagination and creativity that I am constantly just grasping to get, you know, so that I can try to add some of that to my own works, you know. And it's not easy to grasp, you know. It's not necessarily me trying to like hold on to the past, like I'm trying to live in the past or whatever. It's a little bit of that, you know, obviously, but being an adult kind of sucks sometimes, you know. The real world is so, and until I can learn how to make money off of my writing, it's like I've got to work, you know, a job and do all of that, and you know, it gets to you every now and again. It's not, you do it to make the money and all of that. I would love to just like at some point save up enough money where I can just take a year or two off and just hang about and finish my books, or try and find some way to make it all work and be happier. I don't know. That would be nice, you know? Realistically, would I love to do exactly what Leslie's parents are doing? Yes, I would. I really would. And they're such great parents, too. They're so much less strict and so much more fun. And of course, they've got more money, and you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone says, oh, money can't buy happiness, but it kind of buys happiness. It might, enough money to live off of and just take care of the basics buys happiness. And I don't want to get into a whole like philosophical and like debate about the world and whatever, and that's how I think the world should be run. You know, we have at least the basics taken care of, and then after that, you know, if you want more, that's when you have to work a job and do all of that stuff, and that way at least people are taken care of, you know. But instead we're fighting over money and all of that, and I don't know, that's a whole separate thing. But it really shows, because there's a lot more kids at Jess's house, and they're kind of struggling for money, and that's why the dad is a little bit more strict. And of course he's a dad too, but the dad on the other side is fine. But also he grew up, well, it's not really an excuse, because all of the siblings other than Jess are girls. So in Leslie's case, there's only one kid, you know, she's a single kid, so a lot easier to take care of, because financially, that is, and you know, everything else too, just one kid. But they really have to give all of their love and affection to that one kid, and I guess it just gets spread a little thin. And since she's a girl, you give that. And actually, no, because we do see that in the movie. It really is because he's a boy. Like, because Jess is a boy, he gets less like obvious love from his father, right? Because a little daughter, he gives all this very obvious love to, you know. And with Jess, it's a little more reserved and a little more behind the scenes kind of stuff, and he's a little more strict and tough with him and that. And I just think the other dad from Leslie, I think that really shows through how much more special. I guess it might just be because of the one kid, but also just because, I guess, because she was a girl, right? And I don't know. Just a thought. Some interesting parallels. But yeah, gosh, the fact that he built that bridge too later, because she was the one that was good with all he's like, yo, you're so good with hardware stuff for a girl, and she's like, well, you're good at art and stuff for a boy, you know, like. But I just find it so funny how he then learns from that and becomes good at building the bridge and all of that, and that I'm like, Oh, and it was actually like a really well built bridge too. Like it's not just like some shitty bridge. Like the fact that the tree fell over and like created a bridge is like funny in its own right because of like earlier in the movie when the tree falls over and all of that. Yeah. There's that whole like sub arc with like the bully and all of that, and then she becomes like better, I guess. Um, she comes from like an abusive family. I guess like the movie is also about that, and in a lot of ways, just like your upbringing and your parental situation, you know. So, um, yeah, but overall, it really captures that spirit of being a kid and imagination and all of that. And I feel like they're at that age where that's kind of seen as lame now, and maybe that's why they're getting bullied a little bit. But it's it's good that they held on to that as long as they did. And I like that scene where like the bully girl is like crying, and then like Leslie has to like go, because Jess can't go in there because it's in the girls' room. Yeah, so Leslie has to go in and comfort her, and the way she said it was just like she talked about her experiences and being different and all that, and then she's like, you know, she kind of related it to herself, and then she gave her a piece of gum, and it's just the way she's like described how she helped her out is such a Leslie way to help somebody out. She does very similar things earlier throughout the movie, and especially with Jess and stuff when he's a little bit more down and whatnot. She like hands him a piece of gum. It's just like a small thing, but it's like it's interesting. This good detailage. She's such a nice and a pure character, and you know that just makes the impact when she dies so much worse, really. But um, yeah, it's a great movie. It's just really cool, and I'm glad I've seen it now, and it's really good. It's pretty top tier, pretty good, favorite-y kind of movie. I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10, and yeah, story's good, characters are good, the imagination aspect is cool, the emotional side of it is cool, the soundtrack is cool, the visuals are cool. Um, I just think it's a great movie, you know. So I really loved it. Um, so yeah, 9 out of 10. Until next time, this has been Emily with the Azura Media Club. Stick around, subscribe, join the Bad Girl Coven, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Never forget, magic comes from the heart. Emily out.